All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right. Start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Call Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Raha HaKudash. All right. Shalom to the elect, those that are fighting to endure into the end, and that are calling on the true names of the Father in the name of the only begotten Son, which are Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father, meaning He is, and that is who the world ignorantly calls God. Bahashim, which means in the name. Yahweh Shai, which means He is our salvation. And that is who the world also ignorantly calls Jesus a so-called black man, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites, all right? Now, as you can see by the title, for the love of money, shut it all down, all right? For the love of money, shut it all down, all right? And this is what Esau Edom, the so-called self-proclaimed white man, is planning to do, all right? Because why? He's charged or he's influenced by the love of money, all right? So he's getting ready to shut this shit all the way down, man, okay? And we got a couple of clips we're going to play, and we're going to get a few precepts. So let's open up with that in the book of Isaiah, not Isaiah, but let's open up with that in the book of 1 Timothy 6 and 10, all right? For the love of money, shut it all down, because this is what it's all coming down to, all right? Esau Edom, the so-called white man, factuation for the love of money. He's going to shut it all down. And like stated earlier, we got a couple of clips that we're going to play. So this is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 10. It reads, for the love of money is the root of all evil. See? And this is why this devil is getting ready to make this move. Because why? He coveted after what? Money, okay? That's his main driving force behind his wickedness, all right? He wants to move this society in a fashion or a way where he can capitalize off of working you to the bone and getting much as he can from you, all right? He wants to look at you as what? A symbol or a dollar for his enterprise. So he's charged by this love of money. That's his God. It says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which, while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. See, and Esau Edom is going to come to find out that this thing that he thinks he's going to get up and run and get on with, this new world order, is going to be his downfall, all right? That love that infatuated with that love of money is going to be what the Lord uses to trap this devil, all right? Because this is where he's pushing this to, man, all right? Now, we got a couple of clips stated earlier, and we're going to show you his love of money and also how it's going to shut down the whole this whole economy, all right? Because this is where everything is leading to. Because why? They're going to roll out the mark of the beast, all right? This is the end game for this damn devil. He wants to get everybody microchip, okay? So let's go to the first clip. We're going to pull it up on TikTok, and we're going to let you see how the people are interacting or lack thereof. And it's called People Over Profit. Check this out. Let this play. See if I can find it. That was Esau doing Esau things, man. Okay? That's nothing but the devil. So let's see if we can try this again. All right, we back. We back. Esau tried to cut this. Edom tried to cut the stream, but we're gonna bring this out, man. All right, so back at it. Okay, so this is the first video right here, and the title is "For the Love of Money, Shut It All Down." Okay, and Edom tried to shut this stream down, but guess what? To no prevail. Okay, because why? We're gonna keep pushing through the power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right. So now check this video out right here. And this is what the people of Utah thinks about this new approved data center that's going to impact their way of life. Okay. Check this out.
Citizens hear what needs to be said, please. Thank you. For hell's sake, grow up. Can you be quiet and let our citizens hear what needs to be said, please? Thank you. For hell's sake.
So there you see it. The citizens of Utah is not too particularly happy or excited about this data center that these elites are looking to build and have been approved to put in their state, which is going to impact their everyday lifestyle. Because why? These data centers require a lot of electricity that's going to continuously strain their grid, water that's going to impact the pressure, whether it's flushing the toilets, whether it's getting water out of a sink, a bathroom, or whatever. See? And this is all what's coming, all right? For the love of money, shut it all down, okay? For the love of money, shut it all down, Esau. And we know you don't have much time, see? This is why you're putting out these narratives, all right? This is why you're now getting the public ready to what? We're going to get that video too. Starting to prepare for what? Screening at the airports, okay? Because why? They're getting ready to set the stage as some type of, like we see in 2020, pandemic, okay? But see, this time they're going to go for broke. Make no mistake about it, all right? So let's get this in the book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and verse 2, if I'm not mistaken. This is Proverbs 29 and verse 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. See? And the times that we're getting ready to come into, ain't nobody going to be rejoicing. Okay? It says, but when the wicked beareth rule, and that's who's in rulership right now. See? It says, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. See? And that's exactly what's going on. It is only going to heighten as this devil shows his horns, his power, more and more as we get closer to the end, all right? So for the love of money, shut it all down, okay? And this is where he's going at with it. He's getting ready to shut it all down. Why? Because he coveted after money. Let's go back to that and read that in 1 Timothy 6 and 10. And then let's look up the word coveted, and we may get a different translation comparison. This is 1 Timothy 6 and verse 10. It says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted, we're going to go into that word in the Greek. Of course, Esau he doesn't seem to surprise me, man. He's got the internet acting up, and this is the devil, man. All right, this is the devil. Okay, This internet was fine before this feed started happening. Now that the feed is going on, he's messing with the internet. But nevertheless, this word will prevail, okay? This word will prevail, and we will expose this devil through the power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. We're going to keep mentioning those names, man. All right? So now, let's see if we back in business. 1 Timothy 6:10, we looking up that word coveted, because this is what this man is after. All the resources and everything else, that's his his downfall, all right? So it says coveted, which is the Greek word orego.
Strong's G 3713. Arrego.
All right, and some of the outline biblical usage is to stretch oneself out in order to touch or to grasp something, to reach after or desire something. See? And this is what this devil is. He wants to reach out and desire to be who? Yahweh. He wants to be God, all right? In his own convoluted mind, he thinks that this plan is going to succeed and that he's going to be a God, okay? So for the love of money, shut it all down. This is why he's coming with that great wrath, because why? He coveted after what? Money and power, all right? But he'll never get it, okay? Because why? Soon as his belly is filled or about to be filled, the Lord is going to make him vomit it all up, man. All right? And this is where we're heading to, okay? So the Lord is using this devil to bring forth his agenda, okay? That's the whole purpose of Esau Edom. The Lord is using this devil to bring forth what? The mark of the beast. So it says to give oneself up to the love of money. Look at that. The last one. This is his downfall. The love, the infatuation with money, with power, with being over, those that are in lower tier status, okay? Which is why we played that data center and we see how the people were mourning. You know what? Let's play that again, okay? We still got it queued up.
Can you be quiet and let our citizens hear what needs to be said, please? Thank you. For hell's sake.
So there you see the people, they are in an uproar because why? This devil is getting ready to put these data centers, take over their homes, their jobs, and they're going to lose it all, man. All right? These Edomites are getting ready to, crash out, man. Okay, because why? They at the end of their run, man. And this damn devil is getting ready to bring what? That great wrath, okay? And his own people are going to feel it, all right? So he has no picks and chooses. So if he's going to do bad to himself, you can only imagine what he's going to do to you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay? All right, this is why we're telling you to repent, man, because this devil is getting ready to come down with what? Great wrath, all right? For the love of money, shut it all down, see? And those of us that are in this faith, this walk, this truth, we understand this, okay? See, the only thing separating us from a regular 2/3 Jake is that what? We understand, we have faith. So when this devil does come down with this great wrath, we understand that the Lord is going to take care of the elect, whoever they may be. All right. And we just pray that we are amongst those that are what? Prepared to be taken care of. All right. So now back to Proverbs 29 and verse 2. It says what? When the people, let's read that. Proverbs 29 and verse 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. And we see just by that little video and just in general, how people are unhappy with the way things are going, whether it's from the gas prices, whether it's from the uncertainty of having a job, whether it's from these new data centers that's being built up and talked about, that's pretty much going to take people's jobs and impact their way of life. No one's happy with this devil, man. All right? No one is happy. But see, those of us that are in this faith, this truth, we understand, okay? And that's something that you can't put a price on is what? A peace of mind, okay? And that's what we have in this truth. That's why it says in 2 Timothy 1:7, for the Lord did not give us the spirit of fear, but of what? But of power. Let's read that. 2 Timothy 1:7. It says what? For the Lord did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. See, that's why it says wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Okay, because why? We're going to be right amongst all these other, crash outs and, people that's losing their mind, but we're going to have what? That stable mind. Because why? We understand prophecy. We understand this devil is getting ready to shut it all down. Okay, this is where it's leading to. Because why? He has to make that microchip mandatory. All right. He doesn't have as much time as he thought he was. Because why? This word is going out high volume, man. Brothers are putting up videos 24/7 around the clock exposing this devil, man. All right. He can't get no sleep, man. All right. So he got to make the move, which is why we're going to play that second clip about the new outbreak of the Ebola. And now they're looking to screen airports. And hey, depending on where you at, who knows what they might implement to see if you want to get on board. All right. But see, we ain't worried about that. Because why? The scriptures cover that. All right. What are you going to do when the scriptures tell you everything that's happening? You're going to be at ease. All right. Whereas these people that don't know anything, they're going to panic. Because why? They love the world. See, they're not ready to forsake this whole earth. All right. They got to get home to their families. They got to see their kids. They got to see their children, or, kids with children is the correct technical term. They got to see their children. They got to see their wife. They got to get back home. So guess what? They're going to be willing to do whatever TSA has in store for them to board that airplane and screen to see whether or not they got the Ebola. And hey, all they got to do is slip in a jab or slip in a chip. And guess what? They're going to run to it because why? They want to get back home to their loved ones. See, where they had faith, they would know that the Lord would prepare a way. Okay. The Lord could prepare a chariot that could teleport you from wherever you are to get to wherever you got to go at. See, but this is why we say what? Trust in Yahweh with all thy heart, thy mind. Lean on him and he shall direct thy path. See, man's goings is of the Lord, man. Okay. Wherever you at, when this shit hits the fan, it's because that's where the Lord wants you at. All right. And when you understand that, the Lord is getting ready to perform miracles for you, man. All right. He didn't take you all the way this far to drop you off. All right. He didn't take you all the way this far to forget you. No, he brought you this far to show you just how powerful he is, man. See, and that's what we understand. That's why we don't fear nothing, man. All right. That's why this devil can't get an edge over us. Because why? 2 Corinthians 2:11. Let's get it. This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 2 and verse 11. It reads, lest Satan should get an advantage of us. Why? For we are not ignorant of his devices. See, we're not ignorant, Satan. See, we know you coming with it. We know you coming with lockdowns. We know you coming with curfews, all right? We know you coming with a narrative, all right? That for the mass, is going to shake a lot of them up, see? For the mass, those that don't know what's going on, it's going to shake them up, man. Because why? They do it just like it said back in the days of Noah. Partying, having a good time, not, measuring the times diligent. And next thing you know, what happened? Noah entered into the ark, man. And all those people that weren't ready, guess what happened? The same thing that's going to happen this time. Matter of fact, let's get that. Matthew chapter 24, all right? As in the days of Noah, so would they be. Partying, marrying, and having a good time. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter, 1 second. Matthew 24:36. It says, but of the day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Verse 37, St. Matthew 24:37. It says, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. See? So they out here partying, having a good time, not knowing that this devil is making moves right now, man. You see? You love to travel. You love to go on cruises. Well, guess what? That's going to be your downfall, all right? See? This devil can use that. In order for you to take that chip, you got to what? In order for you to get off that cruise, you got to what? Take that chip. In order for you to get back to your loved ones to board an airplane, you got to do what? Take that chip. And he's going to catch you at the most inopportunity time. Just when you getting ready to board. We need to screen you. We've been watching you since you came through the airport. It looks like you're exhibiting these signs of this, outbreak, if I can say that. All right? And now everybody got on board except for you. That pressure bound up, and you trying to get back home, and this is the last flight. What do I got to do to get on that flight? Well, we got a service area right around the corner. We just need to do a little test, run a little test on you. Depending on what happens, we can give you a jab shot or something else. Well, let's get it done, see? And it's that impulse decision that's going to what? Get a lot of people taken out, okay? Because why? They don't trust in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, all right? The Lord told you, never trust this devil, man. The prophets he set up before you have what? Told you this, all right? Day and night. So why is there any excuse for why you should take this other than you're not watching? You're not measuring the time diligently, all right? We're doing lessons. We're putting up videos around the clock, all right? All you got to do is lock in. Get this bread while you still can, okay? Look at the name of the lesson. For the love of money, shut it all down. This devil's getting ready to shut it all down. You know what? Let's go to that video, okay? Because it's evident what's getting ready to take place. It's evident what's getting ready to take place, man. He's setting the stage for another 2020 lockdown, but this time it's going to be a lot worse, all right? Let's see if we can find it.
Van a empezar a realizar controles.
Ebola is one of the most serious infectious diseases out there. I am not an alarmist, but I am very concerned.
O'Hare is one of several airports across the U.S. that are doing enhanced Ebola screenings. We've heard from health officials a lot in the last few weeks who are continuing to tell us to not panic, saying that the overall risk to the general public here in Chicago remains pretty low. So really, these enhanced screenings are part of a preventative push, if you will, to keep the virus from entering the country. What does this mean for people flying into O'Hare? Well, anyone who has traveled through the 3 affected African countries, including Uganda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and South Sudan, in the last 21 days are pretty much just being denied entry to the United States right now. But if you're a U.S. citizen or permanent resident and you're returning from any of those countries, you will need to go through some sort of evaluation. Our health officials basically check your temperature, and then you'll be asked to answer some questions related to your exposure and provide information when it comes to contact tracing. If you have a fever or you show any other symptoms, you would then be placed in a quarantine station at the airport for a second evaluation. Once you pass that screening with no symptoms, you'll then be given this take-home care kit, which includes tools that you can use to self-monitor and track your own temperature twice a day for the next 3 weeks. We spoke with a doctor this morning who says travelers still need to be taking precaution.
Right now, every day matters. More so in Africa right now to control it, but given the lack of global health sort of response right now, I'm really concerned. Ebola is one of the most serious infectious diseases.
So there you have it. It's just as easy as that. Anybody traveling from Africa, states or countries coming to America, if you live here, guess what? You got to get screened. All right, now, what did this thing spread to Europe? Okay, you know a lot of people travel going back and forth from Europe. See, this is the narrative, all right? extensive screening. Okay, because why? They're getting ready to shut it all down. This is nothing but another play, the same play, just a different day. All right. So let's go to Matthew 24 again, and let's read that. It says, verse 39, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. The other that was left is those that are going to get what? Destroyed by the thermonuclear fire. It says two women shall be grinding at the mill. The one shall be taken, that's the one that got beamed up into the chariot, and the other left, that's the one that didn't. So we telling you, this devil is not playing, all right? But see, we have the great satisfaction of knowing that what we're doing is going to prepare us for that moment, okay? So whether we are out and about, meaning what? We may not be at home when all hell breaks loose. We may be at home when all hell breaks loose, but nevertheless, the Lord has our back, okay? Let's see if we can get that. This is Matthew 24, the same chapter, but we're going to jump up to verse 17. It reads, let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. See? So when this happens, and it will happen, you have to solely rely on Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to provide for you in every aspect. See? You got to. You can't strategize and try to plan this thing out and think that somehow, some way, you're going to be able to get around this, all right? Whatever the Lord has in store for you, he has in store for you. He's putting you in that position to what? Glorify him, okay? See? You may be traveling somewhere and you can't get through the screening because why? You're not going to compromise and take a jab or you know what? To get back home. But guess what? The Lord will provide for you to get back home if it's in his will. See? So yes, this devil is getting ready to shut it down. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 15, because a man is going to desire to want to go into a city, but should not be able to. And we're going to read why. All right. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15. And I believe what is it? 2nd Ezra 15. Let me get a second to pull it up. And verse 17. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 17 in the Apocrypha. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. See? So a man's going to want to travel, go into a city, go into a country, and he's not going to be able to. Why? Because they're going to have screening. You're going to have to check and go through these checkpoints, all right? They've got ICE. What do you think they've been putting together this military police-like state for? ICE and all these other acronyms. Because why? These are going to be what they're going to use to pull people over that's traveling, that they think can exhibit these symptoms, and they're going to question them, all right? And depending on your response, your answer is going to show whether or not you get to carry on by your way, or they got to take you and do a more further extensive analysis on you, okay? So don't fear any of that, okay? Remember, everything works for the better of them that fear the Lord. This is why we doing what we're doing now, because when this happens, the Lord is going to take care of us. So it says, 2nd Ezra 15 and 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. And we seen the first clip, how these Utah people is already ready to tear shit down, man. See, they still have some type of belief and holdout that their government won't do them dirty and plant these data centers in their cities, their towns, their states. But when it comes all down to it, for the love of money, this is Esau, Edom's main push, drive. It's his covenants after what? Land, resources, money, and everything else. Because why? He wants to be a God. He wants to be the Most High. All right? As it says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Let's read that. because this is the downfall, and this is the what's the word I'm looking for? This is the fail safe that the Lord put on this devil, that what? His pride is going to be what brings him down to the ground. So this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and let's read it. All right, because this devil, the Lord put a fail safe on him, that what? His pride will be his downfall. All right, this is the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, in verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first. So we had to leave out of our homeland, Jerusalem, and that man of sin be revealed. Now we know who Esau Edom is, the son of perdition. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. See? And that's this devil's downfall, his pride. All right? That's why it's spoken of in Obadiah 1. The pride of thyself have lifted thee up. Okay? And though thou lift thyself up as an eagle, he's going to come down, man. All right? The Lord is already prepared for this devil's downfall. All right? We just have to sit here and let it play out in real time. All right? That's why it says what? For the love of money, shut it all down. Because once he shut it all down, the Lord's already got him in the trick bag. Okay? The Lord's already got him in the trick bag. He don't know that he's walking the line that the Lord has set out for him to walk. All right? Because why? That pride. All right? That pride, that covetousness. Okay? He can't get, he's his own worst enemy. He can't get out of his way. Okay? When you that focus on money and everything else, you don't know no better. All you got is a tunnel vision, and you see money, you see ego, you see pride, you see all of these things that's in front of you, and you grabbing it. Little do you know, the Lord is using that against you. Okay? Because it says, what does it say? Proverbs 16. Let's get that. I can't think of it, but when I see it, I'll remember it. Lord willing. This is Proverbs 16. And it could be verse 8 or 4. This is Proverbs 16 and 18. Slakia. Proverbs 16 and 18. It says, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So this is this man's downfall. He has pride and a haughty spirit. All right. So the Lord is going to use that against him to take him down, man. All right. The Lord is allowing this devil to run it up, as they say, and get these last few fixed in, and then he's going to take them down, man. Get your data centers, get your AI up, put the people out of work, give them universal basic income, have them, worshiping you, implement this chip, and then I'm going to take you out, man. Just when you're about to fill your belly. Job 20. Let's read that, okay? See, you can't go past your bound, Edom. All right? You're only going to be able to get so far. This is the book of Job, chapter 20, and verse 20. This is Job 20 and 20. It reads, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desires. See, he has this idea of a new world order where everyone worships him. Everyone bow down to him. As we read in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, as he sees himself as the Most High, sit in the temple of the Most High. So he wants really the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, to bow down to him, to worship him. All right? But see, that's his downfall. It says, surely he should not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. Verse 21, there shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. Here's the point, verse 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. 23 is the point. when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. See? So the Lord's going to let him get but so far. All right? Make this mandatory where you got to have it to buy and sell, and then I'm coming to get you. Okay? I'm coming to get you. All right? So for the love of money, shut it all down. All right? Because we already know what you go. We already know where you're going at with it. All right? Just do it. Okay? Stop procrastinate and pull the trigger, Esau. All right? We know you ain't got much. We know you ain't got that much time left. Okay? Show your horns. All right? Show the devil that you are, the horns, your power that the Lord gave to you, and pull the trigger, man. All right? Just pull the trigger. Shut this shit down. Run with that narrative. You know, start making it where you got to get screened to go through the airports, or set some type of narrative that it jumped from the continent of Africa to somewhere in Europe, and somehow it slipped through the screening process, and now it's here in America. Okay? It's a pretty good narrative, you know, especially for those that don't know no better, that believe this BS. It's a pretty good narrative to run with. All right? So we're going to read that back again in Proverbs 29 and verse 2, because I don't believe we finished it. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And this is why we see the state that this earth is in, and especially the people that's here in America. Because why? They're going to feel it the worst, man. All right? They're going to feel it the worst. When you go from being so high to falling down so fast to be at the bottom, you feel it the worst. Whereas these other nations, they've had time to acclimate to being a third world country. When America hits, it's going to happen overnight. You may lose your bank accounts. You may lose your 401ks, your IRAs. When that dollar crashes, and they're working on it right now. Little do you know, that whole Strait of Hormuz, that's helping to propel that petrodollar to what? No longer being the world reserve currency, okay? All of this shit is taken into consideration, all right? Traveling, the petrodollar, all right? These data centers, okay? The economy, the jobs, it's all going to be, you know, obsolete, and AI is going to run everything, all right? And in order for you to move, to go about, you're going to have to get that chip, that microchip, all right? And that's only if you're more than likely at that type of status, okay? I did a video not too long ago, maybe a week or two ago, where they only said that only the elites will be able to travel. You know, peons, less than, you know, desirables, you're going to have to experience travel through what? A VR, virtual reality, a headset. I believe it was called Oculus or something like that. All right, so they don't even want you traveling in real life. You got to experience that through what? VR, okay? You're going to have to do what? Eat lab-grown meat, okay? You're going to see why the people are going to be in an uproar. When the wicked beareth rule, it says what? When the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. See? And that's exactly what is getting ready to take place. Because why? The righteous, the Israelites under our Lord and Savior Yahushua, isn't in authority, man. All right? So the people are mourning. And it's only going to get worse. All right? So for the love of money, shut it all down. And we know he coveted after that. All right? Now, we're not saying that you can't have money, because it says money is a defense. All right? Let's get that. But it's the love of money, all right? This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, in verse 12, because you can use money for a defense, all right? But it's the love of money. See, that's what this devil's downfall is. He covets after that, all right? It says, Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, in verse 12, for wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. See, so you can use money to pay your bills, you know, to do whatever. All right. But it's when you make money your God, your power, you know, it's when you covet it after that. All right. That's why it tells us in Jeremiah 10, love not the way of the heathen, man. See, Jake, you got to put this word first, man, because this is the only way you're going to be taken care of in that time. Your money ain't going to save you, man. It's going to be as what? Moths, okay? It ain't going to be worth jack. That's why you got to lay up your treasures in heaven where moths does not get or corrupt and neither does rust. So it says Ecclesiastes 7:12, for wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. See? And that's what we pray to obtain is the wisdom of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, man. Because you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have this wisdom, it ain't going to do you no good, okay? You can't prep your way out of what's coming. You can't buy your way out of what's coming. What's coming is prophesied by the men that the Lord set up, going back to the days of old, back in the days of Noah, all right? Even going back into the garden, okay? So all of this is getting ready to play out in real time here in life, we're in the real world. And depending on where you at, you can either partake in it or you can get destroyed by it, all right? One of the two things are going to happen. Either the Lord is going to deliver you out of what's coming, or he's going to reserve you for what? That destruction, okay? So he's letting this devil get ready to go off and get off on you people, man. Because why? He's going to show his horns. His horns. Let's read that. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13. And let's jump down to verse 11. This is Revelation 13 and 11. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. This is speaking about America. And he had two horns like a lamb. See, and his horns represent that power, man, that Democrat and that Republic. Okay, just like the ancient Romans, they had two parties. It says, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Now, when you go into that word dragon, it goes into what? Draconian. All right. So his measurements are draconian. All right. These laws that he's putting into place where he can put data centers up and decide how much power you use, how much water you can spend, it's all draconian. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. See? So this is what this devil is getting ready to do. He's getting ready to show his horns, his power. All right? And if the Lord isn't dealing with you, you want to be what? Given over to him. All right? That's why it says what? Psalm 17 and 13. Let's read it. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 17 and verse 13. It says, arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. See? So if the Lord isn't dealing with you and he gives you over to the wicked, guess what? You're finished, man. You're finished because why? This devil don't have no mercy, man. All right? You think this devil is going to somehow, show you compassion and mercy when he hasn't showed you that yet? No, he's getting ready to come down with that great wrath, see? And we telling you through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai that he set the stage, man. Why? Because he coveted, he loveth money, all right? And ultimately, that microchip is his love or his passion or his destiny that the Lord gave him to implement globally, worldwide. Revelation 3 and 10, because thou hast kept my word and patience, I will also keep thee through the hour of temptation, which shall come to try the whole earth. Roughly paraphrasing, see? So the Lord has preserved this prophecy for said time, and he's letting Esau, Edom, get off with it, man. All right, so we got to continue to, continue to endure, even at the cost of our life, man. As it says, Revelation 20 and 4, and I saw those that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. So some of us will be beheaded, man, but that's all part of the walk, the faith, all right? We got to continue to push, okay, no matter what, all right? And also it says, fear none of these things. Why? Because some of you shall be cast into prison. They're going to take some of us into prison. See? So what? Don't fear any of it. Okay? You have to know that the Lord has your back all the way to the end. All the way to the end. All right? And never trust this damn devil, man. Because at the end, his wickedness shall be what? Revealed. Let's get that. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach in the Apocrypha. And let's read that. This is Ecclesiasticus 14 and verse 7. This is Ecclesiasticus 14 and 7. It says, and if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. See, Esau can never do good. If you even perceive or think that he's done good, he's done it unwillingly. It says what? And at the last, he will declare his wickedness. See? So it all comes back down to who this devil is, man. He's the wicked. All right. And he's going to show you exactly who he is when those horns start to reveal, when he starts to show his power, when he starts to make these draconian laws mandatory. And ultimately, that one draconian law is going to be what? When he implements the mark of the beast. All right. That's the draconian, because in order for you to buy and sell, you must have that microchip. All right. So let's read it again. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 14 and verse 7. It reads, and if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. And at the last, he will declare his wickedness. See? So just as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Okay? You can count on Esau, Edom to be wicked, just like you could count on tomorrow being Thursday. Okay? It's going to happen. It's inevitable. All right? That's his trademark, his calling card is that what? He is the wicked. All right. And at the last, it says what? At the last, he will declare his wickedness. So no matter what he tells you, that these data centers are for your betterment, your good, at the end you're going to see they're not for the betterment of you. They're not to give you, a better life. They're there to take your life. Okay. They're there to make it harder for you, difficult for you. All right. They're there to take your jobs. They're there to set the stage for you to get a UBI, a universal basic income, where now you're dependent on the government for a handout. So at any time, that handout can easily be transitioned to what? A RFID microchip. Okay. At the end, he should declare his wickedness. For the love of money, shut it all down. See? And that's exactly what he's getting ready to do, Lord willing. Albert Rockefeller. Right? So that's pretty much it. Wanted to just touch on that. The two videos, they getting ready to do something, Lord willing, major, that's going to change the trajectory of how we do our normal day lives. Okay. But whatever it is, just know that the Lord got you. All right. So let's read that in 1 Peter 5 and 8, and then we'll go ahead and close out. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, yes, that same individual that's looking to shut it all down, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. See? He wants to get as many people while he still can before he's taken out of power. All right. And he really wants to get a lot of you Israelites. He really wants the elect, but the Lord's already sold them up. He's not taking them. That's why it says he sits in the temple of the Most High, the Israelites. Okay. He wants the elect, but he can't get them. So he had to settle for the second best, the 2/3, man. All right. Those are the only ones that he'll be able to get. So it says 1 Peter 5 and 8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. All right. So with that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.